Anything. Hey, everybody, Johnny Moe here with Kelly Northley on our weekly Community Leaders podcast, where we talk about what we're doing to become community leaders in our community. And I love having Kelly here because she is new to the ecosystem. She's out there doing it. She did it before. She's hustling and doing it again with great results. So we're going to hear from her. We're going to talk about some other things, and we'll be out of here in 30 minutes. So, Kelly, what's happening? How are you?
Hey, I'm really good. I am sitting in my car very clearly. I just left doing a podcast for a business owner in the area who's really excited to have me over, show me his business that he's built. We actually went to high school together, so it was cool to see the progress. And just did a podcast and sat down and chatted about what he's done and what he's built. So it was really cool, and I can't wait to feature that.
Yeah, that is really cool. So, just to recap, tell me a little bit about what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Tell
Yeah.
everybody else a little bit about what you're doing, and your entire transition over the past couple of months.
Yeah. So, very long story short, I was in Mississippi, which is where I started my real estate career. Did very well there. I had a property management company, I had a brokerage. I sold the property management company, closed the brokerage, sold our stuff, and we have moved back to our area of Wisconsin, which is Fond du Lac. It's my hometown. And I was trying to figure out what it meant for me to start over in real estate here. And in Mississippi, one thing that stood out to me is the work that I did with small businesses and just the small things that I did that made a big difference for them. And so I thought, how can I do that here, but doing it in a more effective and better way? And what I came up with was to do short form videos and just feature their businesses on TikTok, Reels, Facebook, things like that. Short form, 30 seconds to a minute and a half, really, just featuring their business. And that started off great. I had like a standard of procedures that I did so that it looked very professional. And so businesses knew what I was doing and would follow me. Well, I've taken that and that has taken off. And I've started my own podcast for it. It's called Fondy Famous. Someone actually made me a mug with the information on it yesterday, which is so cool. Like,
That's great.
how incredible is that? Small business that did that. But I've taken that and I've made it into a podcast and I've made it a big thing in my community. So I started doing this 9 weeks ago. I'm booked out for the entire year. I'm having real estate conversations. I'm having conversations with business owners and like-minded people and people who just understand what it's like to own a business or to be involved in the community and want to make a change and want to make a difference. So, very impactful, very rewarding. And so, anyway, I'm doing the podcast and things, but I'm doing something called sphere hacking, which is a label that you gave it, I believe, where when I'm sharing these podcasts that are amazing and such a great feature for these businesses and a free marketing tool, they're then sharing it to their page so their audience sees my stuff, excuse me.
Mhm.
My audience is seeing their stuff and we're sphere hacking because they're starting to like both of our things and it's all hyper local, so the people I'm targeting are local people. And then I have the business who's local and we're growing local followers and clientele and just building that local base of people. So it's been very powerful. I've added in, this costs nothing to the business, but I have added in asking them for a gift card of some sort. And the only reason I'm doing that is just that I can use that gift card as a way to engage people and get them liking, sharing, following, things like that. So they
Mhm.
are asked to donate 25 to $50. Some people have done more, which is awesome. Um, Relating to their business, the people go and pick up the gift card from the business. So I'm not facilitating that. That's off of my hands, but also brings a new customer into their door. So I think it's very well thought out and very well planned, and it really has potential to be huge here. And I will be Fondy famous. So really cool.
Yeah, and you know what? There's going to be other people. This is a great topic, and it was a topic on my pod when I was walking this morning, listening to Mel Robbins' podcast, and it was about. And I know that you've struggled with this because we've had conversations with it. I've struggled with it. Just about everybody talks about it, which is and not only struggled with it to get started, but then also as people on the backside start to copy, and we can worry about two things. One is imposter syndrome, where, oh, we're imitating somebody else. But listen, if you're doing it, hey, there's nothing new in this world, right? It's just getting into action, and you're getting into action to do this particular thing. More or less, it's Gary Vaynerchuk to a T, right? Become the digital mayor of your town.
Become the media company.
Right. And then the other thing is people are going to copy you. That is the way that it is, which I take that as a compliment. I'm copied all the time. I meet people all the time. Then they just, oh, I'm going to go do it myself. Peace, deuces. You know what I mean? Go ahead, have fun. To me, that's not leverage in a business. But are you finding people copying what you're doing? Are you finding people responsive positively or negatively to what you're doing in your own local? How's that going, and how do you overcome any kind of maybe negativity that comes from that, or stay positive?
Again, long story short, I was in, the dark hole of being in my own head last year, and I pulled my head up out of my ass. Okay, like I just did. You just have to. That's the only person who's going to help you is you yourself. I did that. I started working out. I started just being more positive. I started being better and listening to motivational podcasts, things like that. And I'm just keeping myself so far in the clouds, like happy and up there, that I'm just not letting anything bring me down. I stopped caring what other people thought.
Hallelujah.
I'm in where I grew up, right? Like the people who are going to judge me the most live here. They do. That's just how it goes. But I don't care. I don't care anymore. I just don't care. People will copy me, and I've had a lot of agents, not locally, but a lot of agents ask about what I'm doing and hope to implement it in their area, which I hope they do. And I look forward to being able to help them in any way that I can, because I really do think that this is a valuable and meaningful way to grow versus a transactional, like anyone can sell a house, right? Anyone can sell a few houses, but I'm looking to be here in 30 years selling houses. Maybe not 30 years, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm looking to be here for a long time and to be involved and to do things the right way versus just going and selling a house and never talking to someone again. I want to sell a house to you. I want to sell a house to our children and then their grandkids. You know what I mean? Like it's just a whole different way of thinking of things. And so I'm here for a long time. And it's just a different mindset of doing it in a way that gives back to others. Because even though the podcast and the featuring businesses has someday hope that they'll use me, it's really just getting my awareness out there. And then people are seeing what I'm doing and seeing that I care and using me for that, rather than me walking in and say, hey, I want you to sell a house with me. If I feature you on my podcast, will you sell your house with me? It's not like that. So
you're bringing a value add. I'm going to ruffle some feathers right now, but like you, I don't care. I don't care. Right. It is what it is. And if it offends you, maybe look at you. The real estate industry is going to get slaughtered in the next 5 years because of these lawsuits, agents leaving the business because they can't justify their value. Because if you no longer are going to just automatically get paid for showing up and open the door, then what value do you bring? And the agents that are going to survive and stand out, and the agents that are going to win, are the agents that are building spheres and networks of high value. Long is the day that you just answer the phone on uptime or run a quick ad and out the door you go and you sell a house. You have to build bridges to other people, whether you're doing network, business to business network, whether you're doing something with your sphere of influence. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 more times before I die. Your sphere of influence no longer is just physical, it's digital, it's online, it's social media. There's thousands of people watching you, getting to know you, getting to like you, your mannerisms. It's better than any billboard. It's better than any print media, is that you're out there. And when you can say to somebody, hey, listen, I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to give you something for free. I'm not asking for anything in return. It allows me to build a relationship with that person, and that relationship allows me to have conversations, and conversations equal contracts. So if agents are not doing, and listen, this isn't me. This is Gary Vaynerchuk. So you can argue with me all you want. I don't care. You're not arguing with me. You're arguing with a guy that built a $200 million company. You don't have a $200 million a year company. I think it's probably $300 million a year company. Then don't argue with me. You don't stand a leg. He's the one who says it. He builds brands. He's the one who works for Toyota, Coca-Cola, and all these other top name companies. If you don't, you cannot argue because that's ignorance. Okay. So we're following the Gary Vaynerchuk kind of concept of bringing more value and asking for nothing. And then when people are ready, they're going to raise their hand and say, I've been following you. I have a question. You know how I know this? Because it happens to me. It happens to all sorts of other partners that we have. Right. And so the only way that you're going to combat that is to get off of all the negativity of social media, get off the negativity of the rhetoric or of the condescending opinions and things like that. If you're not paying me, I don't care about your opinion. And honestly, your opinion isn't even mine to know about. So you got to shut that off and keep moving forward. And here's the thing. If you only have 100 people who believe in you and your community, you don't need any more.
I had someone recently look at the amount of followers that I had, and I haven't ever had to explain that to anyone. I've got over 2,000 followers on my personal and somewhere around 1,500 on my page. But people get focused on the amount of followers you have, not who's following you. Because if I have 2,000 followers that are in, a completely different area, that's useless, right? That's useless to someone if I went in and said, hey, I'm going to do something with you locally, versus if you say, hey, I have 1,500 followers in my city, in our city where you're doing business. I get, 600 to 3,000 people seeing my posts on a daily basis. That's powerful, right? Like those are actual numbers, and I do have those things to back it up. But some people focus on like the actual follower count or the amount of people, and it's not that. It's who you're targeting. If you have the opportunity to get in front of even 10 of your target audience in one day, that's incredible. That's incredible. And that's more than most people. So I think the mindset around that needs to shift a little bit too, because you need to make sure you're targeting the right people. You don't want a massive people.
100%.
You want the right people.
Yeah. I would rather have less people of the right caliber of that I'm trying to connect with than a whole bunch of people that are not the people that I'm trying to connect with. Yes. Okay. And you're 100% right. Too many people get carried away. My TikTok has, what do I got? 3,873 follows and 23,000 likes.
Well, I'm creeping up behind you.
Right. So I walk into places and they're like, I walk into Chamber of Commerce meetings or they're like, oh my God, this is the guy. This is the guy. Yes. And I'm just like, bro, I'm like this. But the thing is, to be a Alex Hormozi, to be a Gary Vaynerchuk, you need to be this. Right? Because you're trying to reach an international audience and you're trying, you know what I mean? You just have a bigger vision. What I'm trying to do, what you're trying to do is bring it in and be hyper local famous. And when you can be hyper local famous, I mean, how many followers do you need? What's the population of Fond du Lac?
Yep. Somewhere around 45, 50,000. So,
right. So if you have 150,000 people following you, they don't even live there.
Right.
So it's irrelevant. Right. Too many people get carried away with the number of followers. I'm more concerned with the number of conversations and all this social media stuff. I'm unplugged from. Right. I'm not a consumer of social media. I'm a creator of content. Right. I don't go on there to find any kind of dopamine. I don't go on there for any kind of validation. I don't give a flying fuck what somebody thinks, if somebody engages, if somebody blocks, if somebody leaves a negative comment, I respond to it very positively. Oh, wow, seems like somebody needs a hug. But what we're trying to do is positive in the community and looking for volunteers. Can I count on you? Mm-hmm. They usually shut right up. Right. So, for me, it's just all about being able to take my social media presence that I have, albeit big, albeit small, doesn't matter. And when I walk into places and say, oh, we got thousands of views on YouTube, we got TikTok with thousands of views, we got Instagram and Facebook with thousands of views. It's a lot more than most of them have. And they're impressed by that. And they're not impressed by that. They're impressed more so about the organization of it all. Because the organization of it all is about something bigger. It's all the whole mission is support local, right? And people want to be part of that energy.
I do. It's contagious.
It's contagious. And as you're seeing, people want to be part of that energy. People want to get involved. FOMO is real. So if you can deliver FOMO to people and shut off everybody else's negative, there's 1.5 million real estate agents in this business, and 1.5 million real estate agents are not doing this.
Nope.
Let me rephrase that. There's 1.5 million realtors. There's about 3 million real estate agents. How many people are really doing it? Right. Very small group.
Yep.
It's a very small group. So kudos to you and hats off to you, because we have to have these conversations. And if you're not having these conversations, I am, you are, and say I guarantee that somebody in your market is also having those conversations. And some people, Kelly, let's talk about this real quick. Some people would be, oh, somebody in my market's already doing that.
Someone in my market is doing this. They're not doing it like I'm doing it. I'll do it better.
There's ABC, there's CBS, there's NBC, there's Fox, right? Then you start getting into the cable channels and stuff like that. You're not going to please everybody, nor should you be trying to please everybody. You do you be authentic, and you'll attract your tribe.
Yep.
That's just how I feel about it.
I started removing people who were negative. And very seriously, I don't care what you have to say if it's negative. If you're not supporting and uplifting, you don't have to love what I'm doing. But if you don't have anything nice to say, like, get out. We don't belong here. You don't belong here. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. This ain't for everyone.
No.
And if you don't like and that's the thing it took me a while to learn, is this is my rules, right? Yep. This whole world that I live in is mine. It's my rules. And if you don't like my rules, you don't have to be here. I won't judge you if you leave. But you can't stay here and be negative and disrupt my positive vibe, my good juju, right? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yep.
So what else is on your agenda? I mean, you're out there crushing it. You're booked for the year. Do you have anything new that you're planning for 2024? How else? How else are you going to utilize your newfound celebrityism?
Yeah, I'm working on listing videos. So many of us are doing listing videos, and so many of us offer listing photos. But what I'm going to be doing is not what anyone else is doing. And I'm not going to say exactly everything because I need to get my stuff out and running, but I'm bringing the hyper local content that I'm already creating, and I'm bringing that to my listing videos, and it is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I've been meeting with videographers to make sure that I have the right fit, that we have the right vision. And that listing that I air, early next year, and we're taking, I'm taking meetings for people who are considering selling for next year already, to feature them and to use them to showcase this new way of doing a listing video. I think the biggest thing is I know that people will copy it. And so I need to get out there and do it, and then do it the best that I can. So that it really just sets that forefront, because it's not something other people are doing. And I'm very excited to launch this for next year.
Yeah, I won't piss you all off again. Real estate agents are the majority of them are the least creative bunch. There's some very creative ones, don't get me wrong, and I love them. Not speaking to you, but most of them, I know them, and this is why I can say this. I know them. They don't have a creative bone in their body. They'll just rip off your idea and be like, look what I did. No, you didn't do anything. You just stole somebody else's idea. But that's the way the world goes around. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing new. But if the moment that you put it out there, they're all going to try to figure it out on their own, try to do it, and then act like, look what I did. So yeah, you're better off keeping that close, not even sharing that, just utilize that. So and this is the part where I lost it. I'm very open and honest about my journey and stuff like that. Hopefully that it inspires somebody else. Where I lost it was I was one of the best agents in the state, right? All the awards, Hall of Fame. Keller Williams gave me award after award. And in 2016, I decided I wanted to dedicate more time to trying to help people. And that was the greatest mistake of my life. And I was running from something. I'm not going to get into that podcast. It's a different podcast. But I was running from something that has been resolved. But I was running because I was too busy trying to get validated from an outside source. Where had I stayed just focused on myself and not cared about all that outside extremities, there was a time where I wanted the awards. There was a time I wanted to be on stage, right? That's all ego. That's all ego. And once the ego has been resolved, then, you know, that doesn't exist anymore. Now I'm looking at it saying, hell, this needs to be all about me. Right. So I give, you have to be very careful when you're giving, not to give, not to empty your cup. It's okay to fill other people's cups up, but only when you have enough and you're overfloweth.
Yep.
Right. You know, because an empty vase fills no cups. So you do you don't need to share. Don't ever feel as though you need to share, because the moment you put it out there, I had these beautiful videos created. It probably took between my involvement and the editor's involvement 100 hours. And I know and not just the time, but the creativity. You know, the time is more irrelevant. What's more important is the creativity and the vision to create the videos. But I know the moment that I put them out there, some suckbag is going to be out there trying to figure out how to download them or use them or steal them for their own. And it's like, again, you know, you use my stuff, I will sue the bag off of you. I will shut your YouTube channel down. I'll shut your website down because they're copywritten. They're trademarked, right? You can't use them. But people do that. They don't have creative, so they just steal. And what I've learned is I cannot fill your cup up if my cup is empty. But what I realized is some people aren't waiting for me to fill their cup up. They're just drilling a hole in your vase and taking it, right? So you have to be very careful with sharing that. I have heard you and I have talked about your vision. I'm super excited to see what that's going to be. It's not something I'm going to do because it's a lot of work and a lot of talking to people. I get tired just listening to you. You got the energy, you got the power, but it's going to be epic, and I cannot wait to see it. And yeah, don't ever feel the need to share everything. Let them taste the gravy. Let them smell the turkey. But if you want a turkey sandwich, you want a turkey meal, you're gonna have to come on in and pay the admission.
Yep, exactly that.
Just how I feel about it. I'm raw. I'm cranky today. Probably haven't had enough carbs. My blood sugar's low. I need to go eat a sandwich. I actually just ate a sandwich. It was very yummy too. I wanted to go to this food truck place, you know, and I really want to support food trucks, but they make it so hard sometimes. Oh, pop up. We're open on this day and this day. Then you get there. Oh no, we're delayed for an hour. Well, you know what I mean? I'll just go to Kelly's. Actually, legitimately, the place is called Kelly's Bakery, Bakehouse and Deli. I went there and had a fabulous meal. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a great lady owns it. Just saying.
Right? Sorry, food truck. I really want to support you, but you're too flaky with your hours. And consistency is what I think wins in this game. You're staying consistent. How many podcasts have you done this year with local businesses, and how many are you going to finish the year up at?
Ooh, I haven't calculated out a total. I think we're at number 4 will air this Friday, and then I have, what is that, 8 more to go after that, and I'm booked the entire year. And I have a couple months out of bookings or waitlisting people for next year. So my goal is to do one every week next year, but I will say it's going to take some time and effort, and I'm having to hire help just to make sure that I can sustain it, because I see the value in it. I think it's something huge, and I want to keep doing it. I enjoy it. I love it. It helps me talk to people, but it is a ton of work, and it is time consuming. Thank God you guys are doing my video editing, because that's such a huge weight lifted off my shoulder, but there's a ton of other stuff that goes into it. So I'm excited.
It's a ton of work. Let's talk about that real quick. You know, for me, the most important thing I think for real estate agents is being that central figure in the community, right? And you can do that with websites, and we're using Lofty to host our sites and our IDX and all those kind of things. Will it always be that way? I don't know, but it will always be there for the search function. I know that. But we're using that because it's not just about making a video and putting it on social. That's why I say video, digital, and social. It's about creating a video. It's about having it out there on social, the YouTube channels, Google My Business, right? It's also about creating it on digital so then you can share that even more as an ad and a newsletter, in multiple different ways. But it takes, you don't just pop into this and say, I'm going to do what Kelly's doing. I'm going to do what John's doing and do it. You have to have some level of SOP, standard operating procedures. And I know you're big on that. Tell me a little bit about your SOP schedule or the things that are important to you on how to keep this organized. Do you do everything on a particular day? Do you do this on this day, this on this day? How does that all look like to you?
Yeah, so everything that I do is written out in some sort of procedure somewhere, probably on Google Drive. But I take everything that I'm doing, and even when I was doing the short form videos, I had a message that went to the business because I want this to look professional. This is professional. I am a professional. So I sent a message to them, and then I have that. And then you go in, you take the videos, I send them what to expect so that they know exactly what to expect when I'm there. It's going to take an hour. Okay. We need to have a nice quiet area. Okay. They have all of these expectations. Then I have them fill out a form consenting to be filmed, consenting to be used. That's just a, cover your ass kind of thing. And then from there, I get some information about their business and we use that. I have started to ask them what their following count is so that when I start doing some more marketing, because I also own a marketing company, I can use those statistics and say, hey, I did a feature on this person within 3 months, their page grew to this, whatever. So I do that. I then go out, I film the content, and I'm actually sitting in a parking lot of where I filmed content just a little bit ago. I film the content, and from there, I'm sending them a thank you card. I'm sending them an email that says, thank you so much for allowing me to feature you. I have a system and an email, excuse me, for when the podcast is to air. So the gentleman I did today, his goes out on the 1st of December. By that Wednesday before, at the latest, they are going to have a copy of their video. They're going to have a post that is pre-written for them that they can copy, paste, add me, and tag me. And then they're going to share that after 9:15 on Fridays. And that's just how I've structured it. But all of that goes into procedures because it needs to be done the same way every time. And it starts with me getting people to come to my site, look and see what I'm doing, be interested in doing it, sign up for it. And then all of these things just start happening. And some of it is automated, some of it is not. But it is a process, and I have made it a point to make it a duplicatable process so that I'm doing it the same and the best I can every time.
Yeah, perfect. And then each time you just follow the blueprint.
Yep, I follow it every time. And I printed off yours yesterday. It was a nice long one, so I printed it off.
I don't even know which one that was, but cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Listen, over the past 10 years, I've created so much stuff that I forget. Sometimes people are like, hey, do we have this? And I'm like, I did make one of those once. But the world, it moves fast, it evolves, and always got to be moving on to the next. And that is life, right? I walked on the beach today. It was snowing. And sure, there's one thing that's constant, that the tide doesn't stop for anybody. Not at all. No man in the world has ever been able to control the tides of the ocean. They come in, they go out. Life happens all day, every day. There was a loon, there was sandpipers, right? Just living their best life, eating their sustenance, doing their thing. And tomorrow, they're going to do the same thing. You're not going to stop it, right? Evolution for us, we have to understand that life is always going to be coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And as long as you can stay consistent, moving towards the goal, what Mel Robbins said on the podcast was, too many people create vision boards. They put the $10 million house up on the vision board, and then they just look at it and they 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 get discouraged that they're not getting it. Where instead of putting on that vision board, you put the steps that it's going to take to get to that $10 million house. You dedicate 5 years or 10 years to doing the work to get to that place. Then you're able to see, okay, I made these incremental steps along the way, and this is the work. I had to get to this benchmark and this benchmark and this benchmark, right? So the human mind can only focus on 7 incompleted tasks at a time. So having this big goal of I want this beach house for $10 million or I want this for whatever, that's great end goal. But what are the steps, the benchmarks, and the micro goals that it's going to take to get you there? Consistency like this over and over and over, you're going to see you're going to do 10 and then all of a sudden there's 20 and then all of a sudden there's 50, and in 3 years down the road or 4 years down the road, people are going to be saying, Jesus, how did you become the queen of Fond du Lac? How do you sell 100 houses a year? And it's going to be like, this thing I started in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed consistent with it.
Yep.
Just like the tide came in and the tide came out. I'm moving towards the goal every single day, in and out. The tides in and out every single day. When you don't feel like doing it, because I've seen your TikToks and we've talked, you've been down is the best way to say it, and we all get there and discouraged or whatever like that. But you know what? You go, you light a fire, you have your wine or whatever you do, your libation, you're at it again the next day.
Yep.
Because you're not going to be the queen of Fond du Lac today.
Yep.
You're going to be the queen of Fond du Lac in 3 years.
Yep.
And if you don't do this now,
everything along the way, I'm a real person, and I think that's a huge and unique aspect. I'm telling people I got rejected the other day. I'm giving them the real raw information. Like, hey, I was down in the dumps today. Like, I say those things because it's relatable. It's relatable, and even though it's not good news and people really just want to hear good news, I'm taking a positive spin on it, right? So, yeah.
It's that simple, guys. Just keep staying. And I'm going to say something. I've been listening to David Goggins. I've been listening to Joe Rogan. Stay hard, motherfucker.
Yes.
Anyways, I met Jesse Itzler, who wrote a book called Living with a Seal. And he lived with David Goggins for 100 days.
Yes, I just saw a podcast on that. And but if someone is having David Goggins, like, that's his house now. Okay. That was David's house at that time.
Yeah. And that's Jesse, the way Jesse tells the story, it's so funny, but they all agree on this one thing. Motivation's crap and discipline is everything. Motivation does not pay the bills. It doesn't pay the bills, and it never will pay the bills. What pays the bills is discipline, is waking up to go do it even though you don't feel like doing it. Yeah. Every successful person tells me that. Motivation's great, but discipline is the most important thing that you can have. And discipline is showing up to go do that podcast. Discipline is getting knocked down because life is going to keep us knocked down. And honestly, we learn more from getting knocked down than we do staying stood up, because it's those people that are always on top that when they get knocked down, they don't know how to process it.
Right.
Well, I'm a freaking warrior. You know what I mean? I got scars, bruises, and medals to prove it. But anyways, for me, the most important thing is just to get into action. Have a vision of what it is that you want to do 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, and start to take steps towards it. And those steps require discipline. Those steps require plan, SOPs. Those steps require leverage and maybe even some level of investment, right, from you. And if you're not willing to invest in yourself, if you're not willing to invest in your brand, guess what? Nobody else is either.
Right.
Nobody else is. And you're doing the work. I'm seeing it. But what 1 minute? We're going to close it out with this. Kelly gets the last minute. What's a piece of advice, a piece of discipline, a piece of motivation, a piece of anything you want to tell somebody about getting started and doing this type of strategy? Oh, you're muted. Where'd your audio go? Uh-oh. We lost Kelly. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sometimes this happens when did somebody call you? Give me a thumbs up. Did somebody call you or something? Or a text message? Anyways, we lost Kelly. Leave and come back. Now it's just me. I know what she's going to say. But do you? We might cut this out and post edit. We might not. We might just leave it this way. You know why? I got 10 other million other things to do. But the truth of the matter is what you need to do is just get started. Okay? Just get started. Put the fear to the side. Put the everything else that you might be thinking that somebody else, the critics and stuff, who gives a shit? They're not your people. They're not your people. Fear lives up here. Success lives up here. Everything lives up here. So stop consuming the negativity that other people might leave. Stop consuming the negativity that other people might be. It says more about them than it does about you. And I know what Kelly will say. She will say, have a plan, pick a date, and execute. Anyways, that's what we're going to end with. Everybody, thanks for being here. If we can help at all, feel free to reach out to me. Just go to realestatecommunityleaders.com. I am johnnymo.com. Schedule a meeting. Let's connect. Go to the Real Estate Community Leaders Facebook group and let's collaborate. Everybody take care. If we can help, feel free to reach out. Peace.